take projection.
Welcome, everybody, to Taking on Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, I kind of already know the answer, but how you doing, man?
Yeah, I guess as good as you can do after such a trash Saturday.
That's a good way to describe it. A trash Saturday. But we are here on Sunday night as usual. Right now, we got a lot of good sports going on. Sunday night football,
Yeah,
the WNBA finals is as we record, and it's last
yeah,
5.2 seconds left.
yeah.
And then, of course, the Dodgers trying to put away the Mets. But yeah, it was like you said, a trash Saturday for us at least. But we'll start. I don't want to start with that game. No, we'll start with the big one, Georgia Texas. How about that? Georgia kind of it was a little bit almost an inverse of the Georgia Alabama game. Georgia big halftime
Yeah,
lead, 20-0, just dominating. Uh, Quinn Ewers looked terrible, got benched.
yeah.
Uh, and then they kind of started putting it together second half, but Georgia kept them at arm's length and did what Alabama didn't do in that game. Kept them at arm's length and put them away in the end. Just outstanding performance by the Georgia defense, and we'll get to, I guess, the controversial call in a second. But Greg, what'd you make of the just Georgia's performance?
It was pretty. I mean, it was impressive. I mean, considering that, he threw two interceptions in that first half, and they're still up 20. With two or three interceptions, they're still able to get up 23-0 on the road against a team. Yeah, yes, they haven't played anybody, but they had done exactly what you're supposed to do against lesser opponents at that point. There was no questions really going into that game about Texas, and I think Georgia took that personally. I mean, Kirby's a master of, if he feels disrespected, he knows how to use that bulletin board material. He's gotten
Mm-hmm.
pretty good with it, and obviously they had a lot going into this game because even I didn't think they were going to go in there and win in Austin. They've been winning games, but it hasn't been what you expect from Georgia. Against like Auburn, Mississippi State, but they handled business last night and right back in the hunt.
Yeah, no, I agree, and up until yesterday, really, Texas has kind of been the only elite-looking team.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon took over the number one spot AP poll,
Mm-hmm.
but even they had a couple of those early games where they looked a little
Yeah,
shaky. And
exactly.
so Texas was the closest thing we had to an elite team this year, and then Georgia like it just came in and ended that. It's like you said, it's like they
Yeah.
took it personally. And yeah, just a great win for Georgia. Like you said, Kirby, hell of a coach, got his guys up. And of course, it's not the end of anything for Texas. These two can meet
No,
again in
absolutely not.
Atlanta. Wouldn't be surprised if they did. But yeah, just of course, we talked about the controversial call. So it was a pass interference call on
Right.
Texas on the interception, right?
Right.
And it was real. I mean, yeah, it would have been a bad call. It wasn't pass interference, I don't think, anyway.
No, I mean it was a
Uh,
bad call, but I think we've never seen anything get overturned like
yeah.
that.
So then the Texas fans, the students, just start pelting the field with water bottles, and whatever.
Right.
And then they come back, they get that settled down, come back, and all of a sudden the officials overturn the call and pick up the flag. Now,
Right.
question is, if the students hadn't thrown stuff, were they going to meet?
Where?
And maybe one official kind of had a different angle, and would they have huddled up? Because that has
Yes.
happened. They've thrown a flag, they've huddled up, and they picked up a flag before when one official might come in and be like, "Hey, man, no, he actually didn't. He didn't go through him. That was a good play."
Right.
So, but of course, yeah, the way they did it, it became the talk of the town, almost like the
Right.
student sections got. Um,
They didn't want problems.
yeah, like they were just like, "Oh no, excuse us." Like, no, you're right, that wasn't a flag. And of course, that led to a Texas touchdown, and Texas, they were down a score at that point.
Yeah, it was a 23-15 at that point. So
Yeah, so
got the 2 point conversion.
yeah, but then like we said, Texas closed them out, did what great teams do.
Yeah.
Um, and I do want to say after the game, Kirby, like I said, great coach. Man, he's a whiny little, just he's a whiner, man. And that whole his
Oh,
post
Kirby.
game, yeah,
Yeah.
they tried to rob us. No one believed in us. I hate that. Can't stand that. I
Come on,
know
bro.
it's
You
motive.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool in your locker room. I get it there, but dude, nah, the public does not feel bad for you, bro.
Mm-mm. No.
You literally,
Uh,
Georgia. You won 2 out of 3 national titles. Could have easily been there last year
yeah.
for a third straight. Like, come on,
It's
chill out.
ridiculous. Yeah, you have how many straight wins against non-Alabama teams? What,
Yeah,
50 or something ridiculous?
chill out, Kirby.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, that and it reeks of that. It's not quite on the same level, or it's a different type. But that Dabo, oh shucks, little old Clemson. Look, you got an elite pro. You are one of the elite. There are 5 elite programs in the sport, if that.
Right.
Uh, and
You're
truly
on the
at
right
that
track.
level right now, and y'all are among the top. If not the best one.
If not the best, right.
Yeah. Uh, so just chill out. Like, be humble. There's a difference between being humble and just being a whiner. And no
Sound
one tried to
ridiculous.
rob you. It's ridiculous. Good
But
win. Enjoy. Go ahead.
no, what I was gonna say, as far as that play both ways, I mean, I get why Texas be pissed because it wasn't a good call. I see why Georgia's pissed because it's not normal to have something like that overturned, especially in the circumstances where it looks like the students had some type of effect on it. But at the same time, and with all this technology in today's world and all the things that get looked at, why can't we start looking at stuff like that just on a normal basis? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know,
Was it the NFL that did it a few years ago? They started reviewing pass interference
right?
calls, and it was in response to
No,
the Saints Rams thing.
and
No, you don't
right,
need to do every one, but maybe
no,
let it challenge it. Like let coaches be able to challenge it. I
yeah,
think that's a good.
and yeah, at least have that opportunity that, because I mean, if something terrible happens and it's blatantly one way or the other, and it's not caught on the field, let's have a look at, and maybe maybe not even something that needs to be necessarily looked at. But like there's people watching you have your head. The people there's obviously people in booths watching and stuff. The conference people. If it's that egregious, maybe they can buzz in and say, "Hey, we might want to take a look at this." I don't know,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Something that prevents this. Prevents this kind of thing. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, it's like we said, good Georgia win. They who do they have next? I don't even know. They'll go on. They have the cocktail party that not until the 2nd of
Oh,
November next. So
so they're
yeah,
on.
if they get a bye week, yeah, before that, and then they
And
got
you
a
know,
nice little stretch of games. They come back, they get the cocktail party, then they go to Oxford, and then they host Tennessee. So
hmm,
uh, yeah,
interesting stretch nonetheless. But
hmm
and who knows
and
about any of those opponents?
exactly. We've talked about it. Who knows about anything this year in
Yeah,
college football.
exactly.
And Texas, their next game next week, they travel to Nashville to face Vandy,
Interesting.
a number 25 Vandy. So
Yeah,
we'll
top
see what
25
happens
Vandy.
there. Yeah.
Vandy and that's crazy though. Vandy, Army and Navy all ranked. Who would have ever
Uh,
thought all at the same time?
Indiana unbeaten.
Indiana unbeat. My goodness.
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy times going on in college football. I guess we'll get to our game, our stupid, ugly game. Third
Jeez.
Saturday in October up in Nashville. Tennessee gets their second straight win at home in the series. Just a hideous game. Alabama, one of the frustrations a lot of fans have is that Alabama can't play uh, a complete game on both sides of the ball. Either the offense is struggling, defense looks good, or vice versa. And sure enough, first half yesterday, defense forced 3 turnovers. Amazing, great. And then the offense couldn't capitalize. 0 points off those 3 turnovers. It should have been about 17-0, 21, 24,
Oh yeah,
24 to
easily,
nothing game at halftime. Alabama
easily.
should have, been able to come in the second half and just put it away. And
Yeah,
uh, instead, it was only 7-0. Tennessee balled out in the second half, and now Alabama's
yeah,
offense, had a couple drives that looked good, but overall,
yeah.
not a good game for the offense. Jalen Milroe, one of his worst, if not his worst game. Missed a lot of throws, a couple
Okay.
bad interceptions.
Yeah,
Coaches, I didn't think it was a well called game at all. I
yeah.
hate those damn goal line fades.
Ah,
The only people that can run goal line fades are Florida quarterbacks from the '90s under Steve Spurrier, because whatever he taught them, they threw it
works.
perfect. And then if you got Julio Jones or some Calvin Johnson type
Yeah,
receiver out there, then you can throw it. But you got to throw
right.
a jump ball and let them go get it.
Yeah,
Um, so I hate that call. I know we got a touchdown on a similar play later in the game, but it's not really a strength of Jalen's to throw that back shoulder. He's
no,
not in. Just take it out the damn playbook. I don't want to see it. Run the ball there. Run the
right,
damn ball.
right.
We got a touchdown second half around the same
Yeah,
area, running the
exactly.
ball. And you know, so yeah, it's an ugly game. Like I said, I didn't enjoy it. Defense got tired in the second half, and
They did.
they got beat a lot in the first half actually too. They were just lucky that
Yeah,
Nico was
missing
off target.
throws.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't.
So where do you think? Where do there's a lot of sentiment about Jalen. Maybe should I don't. I'm not in a crowd that says bench him, but do you think we need to at least think about looking at Ty Simpson? What are you thinking about DeBoer's play calling?
Yeah.
What's your status right now?
Right now, I think I don't. Something's off with Jalen. I think it's something off with him. I don't know if maybe I'm wrong, but either something with him mentally, something with him he's hurt and he's not, because a couple of things. I've noticed he's not really showing much joy. He's the guy that always smiled up or down, always a rah-rah guy. I mean, yesterday he was on the bench sitting. He didn't run the ball very well. He was egregious passing, even when Ryan Williams was wide open. I mean, he overthrew him terribly in the fourth quarter there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I just feel like his confidence is shook. Something is going on with Jalen. I don't know if we'll ever know, but it doesn't seem like the same guy that we even saw. Um, it seems like the South Carolina game and this game, he just hasn't been Jalen at all, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's something weird has happened, and some of that is on the coaches. I think, like I
Yeah,
said, some of those play calls got to help them out better.
yeah,
They got to run the backs. They have to run the backs more, man.
right.
Uh,
And
you
the
got to
other
get,
thing,
yeah. Go
we had
ahead.
the one, we had, that one, we had the one drive where we ran the ball like 7, 8 times. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't much game, but we are getting it. And we got to that 4th and 2 and we punted the ball. I was like, why not? Why
Yeah,
punt right there?
I don't
I didn't
understand. Yeah,
understand that. Um, and
why are
we
we
get
going
that.
for it on 4th and 22 at the end there?
Oh my God. I mean, that was like something you would do if you're just playing a video. That was some video game stuff. Like when you're a kid, I'm gonna go for it because why not?
Yeah,
And then it was a ridiculous play call. Like I understand maybe Ryan, but you expected little Ryan Williams to make that block right there to like I don't get it.
hmm
You know, I, other thing though, when I think about the offense, the defense got tired in the second half, but yeah, I never thought that this season that we'd see a time where 24 points was enough to beat this team.
Oh no, exactly, and then all credit to the Tennessee defense.
Yeah, I mean
They got
Tennessee
a
defense
really good one out there. Yeah,
did an excellent job,
yeah.
but there no point should 24 points be enough to beat this team. I accept. I mean, we lost the game. Tennessee did what they needed to do to win the game,
hmm
but it's just sickening that you get 3 turnovers and do nothing with those with
Yeah,
them.
no, that three
Absolutely
field goals
infuriating.
even what 3 field goals you would have won the game with
Yeah.
them. And yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's
they
what.
missed 2 field goals in the first half. Credit to
Mhm.
the defense. They missed, and then we got the 3 turnovers, did nothing with it. And even at the end, the defense still held on and gave them the three, and only let them get the field goal after the 4th and 22 craziness.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 3 chances at the end of the game to win or tie.
Mm-hmm.
And we blew all 3 chances. Didn't even come close to scoring.
No.
It's just wild. Like I don't
Yeah. Well,
understand.
after Tennessee took the lead, 3 and out, 4 and out, or um, that damn 4th and 22 screen, and then the interception on the first play
Yeah,
after getting the ball back with a chance to tie at the end there.
yeah. I mean, we still
Um,
had a little bit. We had over a minute left. Yeah, we had to
Plenty of
go the
time.
whole. We had
A
plenty of
minute.
time.
Yeah.
I, I really don't know what is going on with the offense. That was supposed to be the strength of the team. On the defensive side, I get it. I mean, the, the secondary is very young. They're gonna get better. I don't know
Yeah.
about this 3-3-5 stuff. I, I mean, you just have to adjust. If it's not working, you got to figure something else out. Like
Well, and I
I
think
don't
that's the
know.
big thing. Yeah. Where are the adjustments from the staff? What are we
Yeah,
changing? What are we thinking about?
yeah.
Uh,
Because
well, you
we did
mentioned
that.
that, yeah, that
Go
the
ahead. Sorry.
secondary's got to, they're young. We got to learn. And I do think there is some perspective needed that, remember, before the season, pretty much everyone was like, okay, there are 3, maybe even 4 losses on the schedule. So
Yeah.
we're on track for that. Granted, we didn't think Vanderbilt would be one, but we did think Georgia would be one. So
Right.
swap those out, if you will. Uh,
Yeah.
there is that perspective needed. And of course,
Sure.
the fire DeBoer crowd is ridiculous.
Just ridiculous.
You got to give
Now,
them, we're not Auburn, man. You got to give them some
right.
time.
You got to give him some time. Because, like, I saw someone in a certain sense is kind of true. I mean, obviously, this is not his, none of these are his recruits.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the style that necessarily that he's looking for, obviously, these guys may not necessarily fit that role. And
Right.
so
And
we have to give him some years to get his people in there.
uh-huh. And
And his style of players that he's worked with at Washington and other spots, Fresno. You get them, they develop and get good, then we'll be fine. Now, if we're looking like this 3-4 years down the road, that's a different
yeah,
talk.
that's a different story. And
Now,
and it's fair to go in the off season and think about maybe a change in a coordinator or something.
right?
Nick Saban, after his first year at Alabama, Major
Yeah,
Applewhite left. We brought in
right.
Greg
Exactly.
McElwain.
Yeah,
Um, and on the Jalen topic, I do think. Look, I understand frustration. People want him out, and
but
people at least wanting to see if Ty Simpson is a viable option. Um,
but there's not a game we could do figure that out in right now.
yeah,
There's not.
you can't just throw him in at next week at Missouri, can you? You have to
No,
put your faith.
Missouri is a good team.
You have to put your faith in Jalen that he will
Yeah,
bounce back and
right.
play at the level he was earlier in the season, because he did
Because
look like a
he
changed
looked
man. Like,
good.
he looked like the coaching had got to him in off season.
Yeah,
He looked like a complete quarterback, and
yeah.
maybe he's not the ideal fit for Kalen
No,
DeBoer's
but
system, but he stayed last year. Like, he cares
right.
about this team.
He cares. He definitely
And
cares. I mean, this is the same man last year who, after getting benched, was on the sideline clapping it up, high
mhm,
fiving the guys in South
mhm.
Florida in the rain. He could have sat there and said, "Fuck this, I'm out."
And you risk losing the team,
Yeah,
if you bench a guy like that. So
right.
now, granted, if it gets bad, if he comes out in Missouri and throws 4
If
picks, then yeah,
right,
okay, I get
and
it.
you gotta, yeah. But
But
the folks that say bring in Ty Simpson, I get it. The backup is always the most popular guy on the team, as folks like to say there. But you're gonna bring Ty Simpson to the Neyland Stadium? Come on, against that
right,
defense?
right, come on,
No,
yeah,
no. This is not Ty's year. We run how we run, and if Ty is the quarterback next year, then we're completely behind him. But you don't. That's not fair to Jalen. It's not fair to Ty
right.
because let's say Jalen gets benched and Ty sucks. Can you go back and say, "Hey, Jalen, we're sorry we benched you. You want to come back?" I mean, does that? I mean, he might, but do you really? I don't know.
Yeah.
We've seen that. We got lucky the last when Nick did it, and Jalen Hurts stayed around and he bailed us out in the SEC championship game.
Hmm.
Jalen Hurts is a different breed. But it barely, it got kind of weird there. I don't want to see that again. So no, I don't want to see Ty simply because it's not fair to anybody at this point.
No, yeah, I don't want to see Ty unless we're up 40 and
Right,
we're getting
exactly.
him reps. And that's the other thing. We
Right.
haven't been doing that. He hasn't. It'd be
He
one
didn't have
thing
the
if he was coming
chance.
in and playing, a quarter
Yeah.
every, you know, uh,
We've been in every game's a damn a freaking heart attack. We can't
hmm
have, I mean, usually the Vandy game is a game where you can see a Ty Simpson.
yeah,
Or South. Now, granted, both South Carolina and Vanderbilt are better, but I mean, still, I mean, those are the type of games where you, in the past, could have seen a Ty Simpson get a quarter,
hmm
but
yeah,
it's just not the way of ball anymore.
no,
Now, one
yeah,
coaching thing that I will say about it too is we have to remember. Now, he was part of his staff, but technically, Nick Sheridan was a tight end coach. So this is really his first play, as far as I know, his first time being an OC. So it's a big step up going from a tight ends coach to the OC. You might have been part of that offense,
hmm
but obviously not Ryan Grubb not coming along with the staff. I think hurts more than we might know because that offense in Seattle today looked pretty damn good.
yeah. I will say that I do think that was a big, and of course the timing of it really kind
Yeah,
of hurt our chances to get someone else. So
right.
maybe that's something we visit in the all season.
Yeah,
Maybe Sheridan gets back to some type of position coach role,
right. Or maybe he
and
learns and gets better.
yeah,
Who
or maybe
knows?
we stick with him. You don't know, but that's one thing that maybe if some problems continue, you have to look at. I think maybe
Or
I think defensively is where you have to look at first if you're talking about coaching
absolutely.
changes. But again, you have to we got to see how the rest of the season plays out. For all
Right.
we know,
Absolutely.
we turn it around. We go 10-2, and we still get in the playoff.
Yeah. Then
It doesn't look likely, but you never. We don't know that this year is just one of those years where
yeah, because
yeah.
as crazy as it sounds, as homerish as it sounds, and I mean, I'm at this point, I'm not expecting anything. I don't know what to expect even for Saturday. But if we play how I know they can play, there's not a team we can't beat on that schedule. Now, will we?
Mm-mm.
Who knows? I mean, we could easily lose every game on the schedule, outside the Mercer game, and we
Right.
could win every game outside all the games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of at some point who wants to win, who wants to step up and take charge. Now, everybody's gonna say the right thing in press conferences, but that's just old now. We have two losses. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, after the Vanderbilt game was one thing, but now we have two losses, so it's a whole different thing.
Two losses, and we have not played well
No,
since.
since the
Uh,
first half of the Georgia game.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know what weird cosmic thing happened at that halftime of that game, but I wish it would
Something. I
undo or
don't,
reverse.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what
Uh,
happened, but something's been missing ever since then.
hmm
I mean, there was so much electricity, intensity, and I haven't seen that really since. On
mm
either side, nobody seems really interested. And I understand, like, we're just fans. Like, they're out there busting their ass in practice every day, and I don't want to be the guy that said I wanted more than them, because I'm not playing. I'm not out
mm
there practicing every day doing all the stuff football players do. But man, it just seems, I don't know, just frustrating because and really, Tennessee did a good job, but it's no way we should have lost that game, especially in that situation.
No, yeah,
I
and
would have rather now if we had lost in a shootout, I'm not overly upset because I expected the defense to play like trash, just
hmm
because that's what they've done. I expect if we're going to lose, it's going to be in that Vandy style fashion where, we just are down and we don't have a chance to get the ball back or something like that. Now, it would have still sucked, but I'm understanding a little bit because that's what we've come to expect. I didn't expect
hmm
anything from the defense. But when the defense that's been under scrutiny all season for the last couple of weeks gives you a lot of chances and we don't take advantage of any of those, that's the frustrating part to me. Not
Yeah.
even a field goal out of any of those.
Yeah. That's just the absolutely
And
most
the
frustrating
20
part.
attempts to Ryan Williams is excellent, but
20
20
targets.
attempts,
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
20 targets, and half of them were terrible.
Yeah, and when we it was a very forced, a very it was bad tendencies, forcing the one receiver. That's the coaching staff's job. You know, we got to fix that. We got to get early season Jalen first half Jalen Milrow
Yeah,
back,
that looks
and calm him
around,
down. And
calls the guy.
you got to call the plays and get it right. You got to run the backs better. You got to
Exactly.
find a way to make the running game with the backs work.
Absolutely.
We can't be
Absolutely.
averaging 2.2 yards a carry. You know, you can't have. Now they got more
No.
carries. They got 20 combined carries, but no, you
Yeah.
need more from them when you throw the ball 45 times because we probably shouldn't be
Exactly.
throwing. I know that the running game is not the staple of Kalen DeBoer's offense, but you have to do it better than that. And then
But it was
defensively,
last year at Washington. That's what I don't. That's the one thing I
yeah,
don't get. It was
yeah.
stable.
hmm Well, it was stable.
That,
You know, it's not the focus, but it's great at what he had a great running back and a really good
but he
running
had a
game last
thousand.
year,
But he
and
had a
that's what we
thousand
need.
yard back last year.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we need. You know, even if combined, we don't. You know, if they just need combined 1,000 yards, and that'd be
that'd
great.
be
Or
beautiful.
yeah, 1,500 yards. From the two of them, what seems
Yeah.
ideal. Obviously, if one of them would go for 1,000, the other would have somewhere around 800 would be
Yeah.
incredible. But we don't need that. We just need better than
Solid.
2.2 yards a carry. And we need the
If
defense
they
to not give up 5.5 yards a carry.
no exactly.
We need to figure out where the hell these guys are beating us over top. We need to do something about that because we're not getting home. It's one thing
No.
if you're playing single coverage and you're getting home to the
Exactly.
quarterback, but we're not getting home and
No.
we're getting beat
Yeah. You
bad
can't
because
leave every. You can't leave everybody on the island when you have absolutely no pass rush. You
right.
can't do
And
that.
we talk about how Alabama could have been up big at halftime. Well, Tennessee could have been right in the game too because they missed
Oh, yeah,
a couple
absolutely. If
big deep balls
Nico,
that would have been scores.
oh, absolutely. And
And
they caught us in the second half with those. Nico, that
mhm.
one, when they got out to like the 4 yard line, absolutely a beautiful throw by Nico.
Great deep ball,
Perfectly.
great catch. And then, of course, the go ahead touchdown was a diving
Was-
great. And that was,
Man,
what, about a 20-30 yard throw there.
yeah,
So,
I mean, that was about as, I mean, he had to throw it like that to get there. Because, I mean, it wasn't
mhm,
bad coverage, but that just shows you, man, when Nico is on, that he's, oof, man.
yeah. Um,
So,
but so it's, you look, I will say, so that's where we know where we got to improve. I will
right.
say a silver lining as we look ahead to the rest of the season is that back half of the schedule now is not as daunting as we thought it was going to be.
No, no.
Missouri is a very weak six and
Ooh,
one team.
yeah.
They are struggling. They've not lived up to that
They haven't
preseason
looked
hype
good
at
all
all this
year.
year. No.
No. They could
Arkansas
easily,
looks
yeah.
terrible. So that road game, still probably be a tough game, but you
Oh,
maybe
you
who
talking about
knows?
OU?
Oklahoma. I said Arkansas.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
so used to playing Arkansas. Yeah.
yeah. Oklahoma just looks
Awful.
awful.
South Carolina, dog. We'll talk about it, but yeah,
Yeah, and
absolutely
then and of course
throttled them.
the Iron Bowl is in Tuscaloosa, so that makes you feel a little bit better. And they, speaking of teams looking awful, we'll get to them in a minute.
Hmm.
Um,
And then of course Baton Rouge. Now that's the one
Yeah, I was about to
because
say that's the scary one. Yeah, that's the one that right now you probably, as at the way they're playing, I kind of put that in pencil as an L right now. Now, granted, that's not saying we can't go in and beat. It's not unwinnable,
yeah.
but right
But
now
that
it's not
one,
looking
I
like it.
mean, and I was way off on that. I really thought Arkansas had a chance going into the weekend, being that they're
Oh,
at
I did
home,
too. Yeah.
and they got absolutely housed
No, yeah,
at home.
that's LSU keeps improving every week. It seems
Yeah,
like, and
they
we'll
do.
see. We'll get ahead, talk about them too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where we're at with Alabama. I don't have any more
Yeah,
thoughts on it.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
I think, this team is just what it is.
hmm
We keep on hoping that things were going to get, astronomically better, and I think this is just who we are. You don't know when and where you're going to get it. You see some good things, but no consistency, and who knows what the rest of the season will be like. But a lot of these, uh, and I saw an interesting post by um, our kicker, Jamie Christensen, um,
Mm.
said something about there's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of more Saban fans than there are Alabama fans these days, and
Huh.
that
That's a
it's
good
kind of
point. Yeah,
true
look. Yeah,
because
and
I mean,
people no, yeah, people have to let Kalen DeBoer put. We talked about this before the
yeah,
season. You got to make. We are not. We are no longer in the greatest era of
no,
a college
it's
football
a
team and
different
coaches
world.
had. Yeah, it is a new era, and you have to let Kalen DeBoer put his imprint on this
Yeah,
program, and then that takes about 3 seasons, and then
yeah.
if you don't like that imprint, then that's when you talk about
Then you can start
yeah,
looking around or thinking, hey, or
yeah,
have those started having those conversations. Now I will say at least we have a sensible, athletic director, Greg Byrne. He's not
yeah,
gonna
exactly.
panic or anything like that. He's not that type of guy. It doesn't seem like so. I think overall we're gonna be fine. But I think right now the most annoying thing is, just we the fact that we don't know what to expect from this team in any way,
Hmm.
and then also just the fact that uh, some of these fans, boy, they're annoying. It's
Hmm.
bad.
Yeah, it's
Like it's bad. But I mean that's coming. Well, where we've been, I guess that happens in every fan base when you've had the success. But man, it's just like chill out.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I think it's a good time to move on there.
Yeah, move along.
Rest of college football happening yesterday, of course. Uh, we mentioned LSU. Let's go ahead and talk them. They, like we said, they just went into Arkansas and
Yeah,
destroyed uh, the Hogs. Took care of business, like you said there.
oh,
Um, just yeah, Nussmeier's looking great at QB. They're running the ball. Defense is flying around, creating turnovers. And then next week, we got, we mentioned Georgia and Texas and the top of the SEC. Well, the top of the SEC is actually Texas A&M and then
huh,
LSU, the only two
both
unbeaten
undefeated.
teams.
Yeah.
Yep, in conference play, and they
Huh.
play each other next week in College Station.
Oof.
Big ABC
That'd be
primetime game
interesting.
there.
That'd be huge.
Yeah, as one where we will, see what's going on there. Um, and
Yeah,
then
that's Saturday
pair
night.
pair that
Wow.
yeah pair that with the Missouri Alabama game, and you're gonna the SEC standings will start to take shape a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, Also yesterday, another ranked matchup: Michigan and Illinois. The Illini sporting those. I thought they were pretty cool looking throwback unis
Yeah, I
with
thought
the
it was
leather helmet.
interesting. That's
Um,
cool.
Took it to the Wolverines and kind of just pushed them around. And uh, the Illini, man, looking good. Um,
They are. They really are.
and this
I mean,
is definitely not last year's Michigan team.
you know, we kind of sensed that coming into the season. That it was going to be a different situation. And then it's kind of I understand the loyalty aspect of it, but man, just to not even really cast a net to see who might be interested in the Michigan job from a bigger standpoint as far as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's a risky situation. Because I understand you want to. I mean, Sharon Moore was the guy that won some games last year, but man, the realistic thing is during the week, Harbaugh was running these things, and he just implemented and kept things going during on the weekend. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
realistic here.
Yeah.
And like I understand it's emotional thing, and you want to try to keep recruits and everything. But for a program like Michigan, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very good look overall.
It's a big risk when you make that
Yeah,
emotional hire, and it honestly,
for
you'd have
it's
to,
a guy who's never been a head coach.
exactly, and a lot of times those, sometimes it happens. Larry Coker was an assistant under Butch Davis. Butch Davis goes to the pros. The Coker takes over, wins a national title his first season, but
Yeah,
ultimately he
and
was
so
only
what
there what
happened?
5 or 6 seasons. He's
And got
still
and he's the reason Miami fell off the earth.
yeah. Yeah, it got, sometimes those emotional hires work, but it might be short term, and sometimes they
Yeah,
just fall flat. And when you're a national title team and three straight play. Was it three straight playoff
Three
appearances?
straight
Yeah.
playoffs. Yeah,
You took over the Big Ten from Ohio State. You started dominating them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Three straight
exactly. You
overtime.
you you would think that you go out and get a top tier coach, a splash
I'm
hire,
casting that net because
or at least
Michigan
someone
is,
with head coaching experience. Yeah.
yes. Now Michigan is a big time program.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Even when they were down a little bit, they're still Michigan. They're still a program. You say, "Hey, we're hiring." You're gonna get some interesting names.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I'm definitely casting that net and saying, see what we can get. Yep, because
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm bringing in somebody that has coaching experience, head coaching, and more than likely someone who has big time coaching experience. I want someone who's had Power Four experience, but I don't know, just I don't know, just seem very risky. But at the same time, now that you've done that, don't you can't just don't throw them under the bus and get rid of them. At the
No.
same
Yeah.
time, like you guys made that decision. You guys feel comfortable with it. At least let him run his course and see what he does with it. Let him at least get his contract at this point, unless it gets awful and they're like 1-11 or something. But you guys signed up for this and accepted it, so I say, you live with what you do.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Exactly. Much like the Alabama fans mad at
Yeah,
DeBoer, like, hey, you made this decision, and you gotta, or your AD made this
yeah.
decision rather, and you're just gonna have to
You're gonna have to
accept it
see where it
and see
goes.
how it plays out.
See
Because
where it
like
goes.
it says, unless it gets so bad that you're worried about it really hurting the
Yeah,
program for an extended
right.
period,
Exactly.
but then you make your change. You prevent that, of course.
Exactly.
But
But he's
going.
instantaneous, so we need it now. Come on.
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah.
how it works.
No, but
Not
we'll
how it
move.
works.
We'll
Hmm.
move on from that
Yeah.
one. Notre Dame got an easy win over Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I was kind of over once we saw Haynes King wasn't
Yeah,
playing. I was like, oh,
staying around that region, Big Ten. Nebraska went into unbeaten Indiana, and
oh,
it was a good
okay.
game. We thought, hey, Matt Rule's got Nebraska playing well.
Oof.
Kurt Signetti's got Indiana
Oh
playing
my.
well. Man, the Hoosiers
Anything but
housed
a
them.
good game.
Yeah, anything. Oh man, Kurt Signetti got to get Coach of the Year love, right? I mean, right now.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
when he made the move in the offseason, we questioned whether he was
What
just
is he
making a
doing?
lateral move. Yeah, JMU's a program on the rise, good resources there.
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'm going to go to the Big Ten and dominate." And well,
He said, Google me.
yeah, he said, "Google me," and he's a winner, and he's not lying.
He is a
Um,
winner. He is. I mean, it's not the toughest schedule, but they've been housing everybody. I
yeah,
mean,
no,
they've been absolutely housing everybody. I mean, it's a great story because I mean, just like the Indiana, what they said has been 7-0 twice. This is the second time in ever, something
hmm
like that. But he brought a lot of the guys with him from JMU.
hmm
So he kind of knew what to expect. The interesting thing will be, how they finish the season,
hmm
and then going forward, man, it's gonna be so tough for Indiana to be able to keep that, man. Unfortunately,
Oh, right. Yeah. What does Indiana got to do? Because I mean, hell, we talked about Michigan. If Michigan, if it goes really bad, do they not? I mean, it's right there in their
yeah,
conference. They
yeah,
they're going to play it in in a
yeah.
few weeks in Bloomington.
Oh, if he houses them,
Ooh, yeah. They host Washington next week, so and then they travel on the road to a suddenly spry Michigan State.
yeah.
So yeah, and now of course they end there. After that Michigan game, they go to Ohio State. So we'll learn. But could they get into Michigan? Could they? What are they now? They are 7-0. They could be 9-0 going. When Michigan comes to town, you win that. Could you
Mm.
imagine if they're 10-0 going to a
Oh
one
man,
loss Ohio State team at the Horseshoe?
man,
Um,
that would be something. And the other fun thing about that is they said like the lowest ticket you could get was $100 for yesterday's game. That just shows you the excitement around Bloomington right now for
hmm
football. And in November. So I mean, excuse me, close to November, which we clearly is usually basketball season by now.
Mhm.
um, and just the fact that they're man, can you imagine any other year you could probably buy season tickets for $100?
Yeah, it's
And now it was 100 to get in yesterday, and it's only going to get better from here. You like to see a team like this. Even if they lost to Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, they're still very much in the playoff position. I mean, that'd be interesting to see someone like Indiana get into the playoffs just to see, what they do against.
mhm.
But we'll see how. But man, just a great story. Kirk Signetti clearly has to be, like you said, has to be at the top of that coaching pool. I mean, coach of the year. And then yeah, it'd just be interesting too. Just can Indiana keep this man in any way?
Yeah,
Um.
he's definitely going to be a hot commodity
Oh yeah,
uh, if they keep going. Now, granted, they could also fall off a cliff,
they
but
could.
doesn't look like it. They looked,
Doesn't look like it. I mean, they seem to have it. They seem to be rolling. It's a good story, but it'd be interesting how it plays out.
uh, yeah. Staying in the Big Ten real quick. Just did you to catch that Maryland USC ending at all?
I
Uh,
didn't. I read about it, but I didn't actually see
and
it.
crazy. Fourth quarter, Maryland down 13,
Yeah.
and then just craziness. 14 points. The Terps steal a win from USC in College Park. Uh, crazy, and not much. It's just man, Lincoln Riley looking rough.
Yeah.
USC not having a
Three
great,
and four.
not having a great year in their
Uh,
first year in the Big Ten. And neither, really Oregon's the only one having a.
yeah.
Washington might be okay with considering how much they lost, and UCLA probably doesn't care. They're getting a paycheck.
I mean,
Uh,
that was a good win for them yesterday
yeah,
with
yeah,
UCLA to beat Rutgers, who
yeah,
kind of falling on the wayside a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Uh,
good win for UCLA considering where they've been. Go on, so on the road and past to New Jersey. Been a little tougher with their coach back. That's been a decent atmosphere. That's a big win for UCLA. Um,
Yeah, Piscataway is what you're looking for.
Piscataway,
That,
yeah,
yeah. He, yeah, going all the way across country. Yeah, dumb that it's a
that's it.
conference game still, but
It's
nonetheless, it's a win for
good win
UCLA.
for them.
Um, let's go back to the SEC now, or no, one real quick. We'll stop in the ACC. Miami, Louisville was just
Oh, what
absolutely
a game! What
bonkers.
a freaking game!
Um, yeah, just absolutely crazy back and forth there. It looked just when it looked for a split second that Miami was about to pull away, took a 14-point lead midway through
Yeah,
third quarter, kickoff return for a touchdown, and then shit just went haywire.
yeah,
Miami wins by 7. Cam Ward, Damian Martinez, he had just a grown up run
right. Yeah,
at
it
one
did.
point. Um, Great win for Miami. They just keep pulling them out, man. 7-0 now. They,
Man, they find a
yeah,
little drama every week, don't they?
yeah, they
Well,
do. And next week
suspenseful.
they welcome rival Florida State in, who things are not
Now
good in
Miami.
Tallahassee.
Don't
Yeah.
let this be the. Don't let this be the.
Oh, you
Because
cannot let this be the one at home to your
no,
hated rival.
no, when they're
No,
terrible,
when they are so terrible.
horrible,
Yeah,
absolutely, you have to house them. It can't be
hmm
a game. You have to demoralize them.
yeah.
Like
No,
there's
exactly. You have to put them away and get ready for
because
what looks to be a really important game against Duke. Honestly,
yeah,
uh,
former coach going up against his team. Yeah,
yeah. Um,
huh?
so yeah,
Yeah,
just
you
wanted to
absolutely have
stop
to house
there.
Florida
Yeah.
State.
We'll look ahead next week in a little bit, but let's move to the SEC now. We mentioned Auburn.
Sorry, one more
Uh,
thing about
Go ahead. Go ahead.
um Louisville. This whole season, I keep on seeing Brooks having big ass games,
Hmm.
and I'm like, man, he was our guy.
He was, and then he got in Saban's doghouse,
and
and
got hurt and stuff. And it's just both.
yeah,
So like he's
uh,
absolutely killing it this year. Had a big game yesterday. He's had big games all season.
mhm. Leading the team
And
in
it's
receiving, 679,
almost,
8
yeah.
touchdowns.
I mean, his lowest production of the year was 71 against Notre Dame.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
he is.
he's having, but it just shows you, if you're in a situation that makes you happy. I always knew he had the talent. We've seen him at times, but man, we couldn't just fully put it together. It didn't seem like consistently. And now you see him in this, and it's like, man, what could have been?
Yeah.
Oh well,
Louisville's fallen on tough times after a 3-0 start. They've lost
they
three or
have,
four now. And they go
they
to
have,
Boston College on Friday night, try to rebound because
right?
They got Clemson. They got to go to Clemson
Oof.
after that.
Yeah,
So, um,
they have a tough schedule.
yeah. But all right, now let's go ahead.
Yeah,
SEC. Auburn. Let's start with them. Man, it is took the lead. What 14-3
yeah.
in Columbia. Drew Lock was out the game. Drew Lock comes back, and Missouri storms back, wins the game. Another just bad loss for the Tigers. And I'm just asking, if I'm an Auburn fan, is this actually better
Is this what
than
we want?
is this better than Brian Harson? Is this any better? Like, what has Hugh Freeze improved upon? Uh, they can point
The
to
shooting.
recruiting, I guess. Yeah, I guess they can point to recruiting, I guess. But man,
But you
like,
might lose some people.
are you willing to, like, yeah,
You're
at what
gonna
point are
lose
you gonna,
somebody.
yeah, you're gonna lose somebody because you're not. It's not just that you're losing; the way you're losing, you just do not look good. These embarrassing losses. You know, now you travel to
Nobody's.
an up and down Kentucky team next week, who
No,
we'll talk
we
about
don't
them
know.
in a second. But yeah, like that's Lexington's not an easy place to play. It's a
Mm,
primetime game. You get Vanderbilt and noted,
That's me.
Hugh Freeze killer Diego Pavia. UL Monroe's having a good year. That's no longer a guarantee. That's an early
God,
game too.
good God.
Uh, and then Texas A&M comes to town, and then you go
Yeah,
to Tuscaloosa for the Iron Bowl. Greg, do you see a win on that schedule?
you would think Monroe, right? You would have to think at least that.
You would think, and the
You would
talent's
think,
there.
but even then, they do win that game and they lose all the others. You saying this man did not win one SEC game?
Mm-mm.
I've never seen that. Even in Auburn's worst years, they've always
Yeah,
that.
that would
You
be
talking
bad.
about a angry, the most irrational folks that make the craziest decisions, and you give them that? Yikes!
Yeah, you wonder. Yeah, if he goes winless in SEC play, I mean, he's got a worse record than Brian Harsin did at this point through his tenure, and he
Exactly.
was he was fired after this point. So
Exactly.
they really have to believe in Hugh Freeze if they want,
Yeah.
and he's better turned around. He
Nah.
better, you got to
He.
go. How many games? I mean, if you're an Auburn fan, put yourself in their shoes right now. You're 2-5, 0-4 in SEC play.
Yeah.
How many of these games is it just like, do you got to steal one of A&M and Alabama? Do you, obviously if you lose to Monroe, either,
Oh my God.
it depends what you do, I guess. But if you beat
Man, but
Kentucky and beat Vanderbilt, but still, yeah, losing to Monroe seems like a bad thing because then
nah. Yeah. Yeah. Nah.
the,
Excuse me. It's just a bad look, especially in the way that they've lost some of these games. Because I mean, you were up big on OU at home. You let that slip. You lost to Cal and Arkansas at home, and the easy part of the schedule. And then now you go on the road to Columbia, go up early, look good, and everybody's like, "What's going on?" And then you take Brady Cook out of the game, and then he comes back and then like a superhero leads them to a win. He comes at the end of the third quarter, does a little Willis Reed impression, and leads them to a victory. It's like, my goodness, like what? Like whatever Auburn's done, like karma, whatever they've done to somebody, like karma's hitting them hard in the mouth right now. Because that is some of the stuff that's happened to them has been absolutely ridiculous. From our standpoint, it's great, but man, it's just wild at this point.
Yeah, it's insane. If you're an Auburn fan, you can't feel good right now.
No,
You can't just point at a couple recruits, because like you said,
uh,
that's you don't know who might transfer out after this
yeah.
season. And
I
again,
mean, that's a risk everywhere.
you've brought up this question, but if you're an Auburn fan right now, you're asking why the hell didn't we get in the portal and get someone, or why couldn't we? If we did try, why didn't they want to come play? Like, what is wrong
Right.
with this team? What don't we know? Because
Yeah.
it's
It's
bad. Yeah,
bad. It's
yeah,
absolutely horrible.
yeah.
I'm like,
I got some stats here. Tweeted out. Jay Ferguson on Twitter. Justin Ferguson. Auburn's offense had 12 drives against Missouri. 5 3-and-outs in those.
uh,
And they had a 4-and-out at the end of the game there. On the other 6 drives, Auburn 4 times they had a first down inside the Missouri 40-yard line. They only got
uh,
three points out of those 4 possessions right there.
wow.
And then the other 2 drives were, one was the big play touchdown and one was a
Yeah.
fumble. So
Jeez.
you can't. Yeah, that's, if you don't have
Mm,
that big play, then it looks even worse.
yeah.
I just I think if you're, I mean, I look at that schedule. Like you said, at Kentucky, yeah, they just
Poss-
got blown out at Florida. Good win for the Gators.
yeah.
DJ
Absolutely.
Lag, crazy stat line, real quick, just an aside. DJ Lagway, 7 completions, 259 yards. Um, talk about
Man,
hitting big plays.
you talking about a guy, man. You just see so much potential with that dude. He could be scary if he gets
Yeah,
coached up right.
yeah.
He
But
might be the
let's.
best quarterback in America. But yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but yeah. Uh, Going to Kentucky, it's just Kentucky is just one of those weird places that and they're an up and down team this
Yeah.
year. You could go in there and steal one from them, or they could
And then you
go
can
in
get
and run you.
housed.
Oh yeah, or they could run you over and dominate you on defense. And
At this
then
point,
of
I'm
course
going with that.
yeah, exactly. At this point, I lean toward Kentucky taking that game. Vanderbilt comes into Jordan Hare, and granted, hey, we'll see. Vanderbilt, kind of a ugly win over Ball State. They did what they had to do,
Yeah.
but Diego, like we said, Diego Pavia has beaten a Hugh Freeze team twice now.
Twice.
Um,
Dominated them.
yeah, they of course, and who knows how they'll be feeling after they get Texas next
Yeah.
Saturday. But maybe they're humbled a little bit. Maybe they play a good game. Maybe they pull the unthinkable and beat another top
Oh
5
my
team.
God.
Um,
Let's hope.
but that's either way, they're a tough team, and
They're a tough team.
the way Auburn's playing right now, you don't think they're capable
No.
of beating a top team.
Man, I thought it.
Monroe.
I didn't think that was. I thought we started talking about that being a tough game before they even went on their little run, beat
Yeah,
us.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
Um,
yeah,
UL Monroe,
Monroe,
like we said, you absolutely should beat them. They're first place in the Sun Belt. They're 5-1 team. Their
much
only
improved.
loss is at Texas.
Yeah,
Uh, they're handling their business. They
they
got
are.
and then of course we mentioned you end with Texas A&M comes to town.
Mm,
Guess what? Texas A&M is playing really good right now.
yeah,
And then you go to Tuscaloosa for the Iron Bowl, where it's been a while since you've actually, it's been since 2010. The comeback since they won in
one in
Tuscaloosa, and
Tuscaloosa,
and
and it
that
had
was an
been close.
extraordinary, yeah. But usually Tuscaloosa is where they go to get their ass kicked by Alabama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
we'll see
and
with
yeah,
this year's team. But again, that seems like a game that's not likely. The way that, even as shoddy as Alabama's looking now, it's not a game that if you watch this Auburn team, you think, oh yeah, they go
mm,
into Tuscaloosa and win.
yeah.
No.
And now for where Jordan Hare, I'm scared. But in
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa, I feel better, even with this team. If,
yes.
yeah, yeah. If
I think
Auburn
if you're
doesn't
generous there, you give Auburn
two,
2. Yeah, like 3 would be great because that
three's
means you.
pushing it.
if you beat Kentucky, say you beat Kentucky, Vandy, and UL Monroe, then you lose the other two. Obviously, if they get UL Monroe and say they somehow win the Iron Bowl or something, then Auburn fans probably think that's okay. That
Yeah,
probably
they'll
probably
be
saves
good.
Gus's job.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
if there's
Yeah,
a chance they lose all five, or there's a chance, like you said, they beat Monroe like they should, but they lose their SEC games, and then you just had a winless season in the SEC,
a
and then
winless
you
season.
you have to ask serious
When has
questions
that
if
ever?
Gus,
When has
yeah,
that ever happened? Has
to
it? Has
Auburn
never,
or
right?
in general.
No, I'm saying Auburn has never had a.
Oh, that I don't know. Yeah, I doubt. I wouldn't think.
And not in my lifetime, I know for a fact they
No,
haven't.
in
Like
the
that. And
SEC.
and as hot headed as they get at the wrong in the past and the wrong time. I mean, these are the guys that flew people in when people were winning games.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a wild bunch. I mean, they made up a whole sexual relationships trying to get rid of their last coach. I mean, this is a wild bunch, and he didn't even do anything. He hadn't even done anything wrong. I mean,
let's see.
so
It looks like I got one in 1941. Auburn went 0-4-1 in the SEC.
okay, and that's World War
Uh,
II. So who knew who was playing
yeah, they went
in that era?
0-4 in 1944.
Oh, okay,
0-7 in 48 and 50. So
okay,
they were back in 52 as well.
yeah.
So and then
So it happens.
Then Ralph
I
Jordan
mean,
came in and turned that shit around, and
yeah,
they were a solid team. I mean, he was there for what 20 some years.
yeah.
They went 0-6 in 1980 before Pat Dye came in.
Okay.
Um, but other than that, yeah, like
Not in
so.
our lifetime.
Oh wait, you know what? Yeah, Gene Chiswick, 2012, 0-8 Auburn. Uh,
Really?
there it is. So that
That was
that
his
rings a
last. That
bell
was
now.
his
Yep.
last year, huh? Yeah.
That
I
and
knew they were
exactly.
bad, but that was
Hey,
2012. They didn't even beat State that year.
he won
Jesus.
a national title,
In
and they
2012,
fired him.
within 2 years.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can justify keeping Gus if he
No,
goes 0-8 in SEC play, because that would make them. I don't even know what's their.
I mean,
That would give them what,
eh,
3 wins on the year, 4, 3.
three. Because there are
There,
two wins now.
yeah,
If they beat
yeah,
UL Monroe, that'd be their third win.
yeah. If you don't get the, at what point? So, all right, say he loses to Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and then if they
You let
lose
him
to
finish
you,
the season
I was about to say, yeah, if he loses to Monroe, do you pull the trigger then? If they
because
beat
I
Monroe,
mean you
but
have to
maybe
do it
Texas A&M
quicker.
beats a shit out of them, do you pull the trigger? Yeah, you got to let
Because
recruits know, like, hey, we're trying to fix this.
yeah,
I don't know.
because I mean
It's a messy
the way that
situation.
stuff opens up in December now.
Mhm,
And that's your main recruiting day, and the portal opens up. It's a
mhm.
everything moves so fast nowadays. Like you have to be ready to go if you're gonna make these moves. Like, you
Yeah,
can't sit around, and that's ugly.
yeah, yeah. Let's
I
move
don't
on.
know.
Yeah, it's ugly. Let's move on. Rest of the SEC. We mentioned that Florida game. A good win for Billy Napier. Good win for
Yeah, it is.
Florida. Um, like we said, defense looked great.
I
5
don't.
rushing touchdowns.
Yeah,
Running game looked good. They get a bye week before they go to Georgia, and then of course they have at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and at Florida State.
man.
They
But
need 2 wins to get to a bowl.
yeah,
You think they can do it?
Florida State they beat, and they need one other one. I don't know.
It's
I
tough.
don't know.
It's tough.
That's a
You have to
tough.
pull.
Yeah,
Here I'll phrase the question differently. Does that, so that would assume that if you get Florida State, we give them Florida State. That means to get to a bowl, they have to beat one of either Georgia, Texas, LSU, or Ole Miss. Is that enough to save his job?
yes, I think it is.
I would keep him too myself. I would
I'm
give him
keeping
one
him
more chance. Yeah.
because the team responded in some aspect after that Texas A&M loss.
Mm-hmm.
They looked a lot different, a lot better.
Yeah.
They seem to be
Coulda,
playing better
coulda,
ball. The
shoulda
defense has
won
been better.
Tennessee. You know,
Yeah, they should have won Tennessee.
but you can at least excuse it. Like, oh, it was in
Yeah,
Knoxville.
it was in Knoxville.
If that game's in the swamp, maybe it goes different. Maybe
You
they're
know,
on a
we
4 game
lose
win streak like that.
we lose our quarterback. He tears his Achilles.
Mhm.
Um, now we're strictly Lagway. So I mean, and they should have beat Tennessee.
Mhm.
I mean, they come back and they house a Kentucky team that they've struggled with for the last 3 years.
Yeah, first win in the series since 2020.
Yeah. So I mean, they've struggled there, and you get the big win against the Jekyll and Hyde Kentucky team. You don't know what you're getting there every week.
Mm-mm.
They're a team that's hard to figure out. But then you look at it now. Not looking at the schedule right now. What games are in Gainesville?
They get LSU and Ole Miss in Gainesville. And of
I'm
course,
leaning
the cocktail party in
if you're gonna
Jacksonville
get
is
one
always.
if you're gonna get one, yeah, of course everyone's always in Jacksonville, but if you're gonna get one, I would put my money on Ole Miss
Me too, probably with the way the Ole Miss seems to be.
because you don't know.
Yeah, Ole Miss not playing well right now.
Yeah.
They had a bye this week, and
Hmm.
they get luckily they get Oklahoma in Oxford next week, so
Yeah, that should
bounce
be
back.
a
I
big
would
bounce
say
back.
the other thing though they have going for them, despite how well SU is starting to play. That series is always crazy, man.
It is.
That's a crazy rivalry. You never know what's going to happen, so anything can
Yeah.
happen. And
Yeah.
yeah, if he's still, I mean, obviously, I think if he upsets Georgia somehow, you got to keep him no matter
Oh
what
boy,
happens the rest of the
you
year.
gotta keep him at that. Yeah, that's just huge.
Yeah.
But I think even if he doesn't, if he only beats FSU for the rest of the season, I'm keeping him. I just because who are you bringing in? Unless you have the absolutely great next, for a while with people were starting to talk about Lane Kiffin.
hmm
I think that name's cooled off a little bit. I don't think I'm bringing in Lane Kiffin right now. Um, I don't know. I don't know who were you bringing in? Who's coming to Florida?
Yeah, I think at this point you have to see a noticeable drop off, or a
now,
regression from this. Right now
now if
they're
you get housed in all those games,
yeah,
then
maybe
yeah.
you can like if you lose by
I mean, if you lose
three
60-7,
scores, yeah,
yeah.
or yeah, oh well, God, yeah. But if even if you
Well,
lose like by
yeah,
three, if you're not competitive, we'll put it that way, in all of those games leading up the rest of your SEC schedule, maybe then even a Florida State win doesn't save you. Um,
exactly. But
but if
I
you
don't.
are really competitive and you struggle, but you can't beat them because these are more talented teams, they're all ranked. A
Yeah,
couple of them top 10, three of them
yeah.
top 10, in fact. Uh, but you beat Florida State. Yeah, I agree. That's not a bowl, but that's enough to show like, hey, this team progressed. If we can get, as long as the recruiting class is good,
Yeah.
uh, maybe we have one more year because we don't need to. We've been cycling through coaches since
Got
Urban
our
Meyer retired.
got our
Of course,
quarterback.
yeah, we got exactly. You got your quarterback, man, and if you can hold on to him, if he's committed to Napier, then
Yeah, that's the
maybe,
other thing too.
yeah,
If
you have to
that's
consider
his
that.
guy,
Yeah,
if you get rid of Napier and not cause you to lose Lagway, yikes.
yeah, yikes, indeed. Let's move on to see elsewhere in the SEC. We mentioned South Carolina went into Norman and just
Oh wow.
beat the hell 32-3 at halftime.
Ooh.
All over. We saw Jackson Arnold again.
They
OU's
just fired. They
they're a
just
mess
fired
right
their
now.
OC today.
Did they? I didn't see that.
They
Oh, there you
fired. Yeah,
go.
they
Okay.
on three. I saw it on three. They fired Seth Patrell today.
Well, there you go. They're starting to make changes. They
Yeah.
realize they cannot afford to fall behind
Yeah.
in the new conference now.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Absolutely not.
Texas A&M, we
Especially,
mentioned them. Great start. They went in the Starkville.
it's a
And
better game than I thought. But
uh,
they,
speaking of finding their quarterbacks, it looks like State. You kind of
yeah,
mentioned this last week. It looks like they have their quarterback.
yeah, he
Um,
put up big numbers second week in a row there
yeah,
against good teams.
yeah.
It
We know
was,
that's a work in progress there for Jeff Libby. But I think
yeah,
maybe State fans should be happy that they're starting to be competitive. Um,
yeah.
I don't know. Let's pull up their schedule real quick.
It's not a friendly schedule at all.
It's not. You
Yes.
got Arkansas at home. Hey, you never know if you're going to steal an SEC game, that's probably your
That's the
chance right
one.
there. Or
Yeah.
either that, or of course, the Egg Bowl. Who the hell knows whatever.
Right. That's how it's,
Um,
yeah, I
wait,
mean
is the Egg Bowl not Thanksgiving night this year?
Friday at 2:30.
Oh,
What?
I hope that's a
No.
misprint.
No. Are we serious? The Egg Bowl is not on Thanksgiving night. Like I look forward to that.
As I say, is this not a?
Wow.
Oh
ESPN
man,
has it at 2:30, Friday the 29th.
interesting.
Jeez.
I'm not
I
sure
don't
how I
like
feel
that.
about that.
I don't
Yeah,
like that at all. Like
apparently it's
that's
only been played on Thanksgiving 23 times. That's interesting.
um,
It's just
I
so
thought it seemed
recently.
like every
Yeah,
year.
yeah. Um,
Hmm. One of the most underrated rivalries in all the sports,
oh,
just because.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely one of my favorites. I believe I wrote an article on the Take some years ago now about my favorite rivalries, and it's up there. I often joke with
Yeah,
people. My wife, obviously Alabama family, Alabama graduate herself, but an
yeah,
Alabama family, even though she grew up in Mississippi. Um,
uh-huh.
I do joke sometimes with them that like I wish one of y'all were really into this. Like I wish that this was a state
Somebody,
family or an Ole Miss
yeah,
family, just so I could witness this rivalry firsthand. They do have
yeah,
some
um,
extended family that are big state fans, and
yeah.
but I'm like, man, I want to be in this. Like I'd love to
I
go to
want to
this
watch
game.
it.
Yeah,
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 man, that'd be fun game to go to just as an outsider, just to watch
oh yeah,
how the what the atmosphere is like. Because
yeah.
obviously, I think we knew it was a big thing, but then when you look at it with everything that happened with you freeze and the fact that they went out of their way to find out them phone numbers and man, it's deep. It is deep.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It's
it's one of those true hatred rivalries.
oh, absolutely.
But yeah, just saying, I think they do have their guy,
Oh yeah,
their quarterback at least, and we knew they were going to be rebuilt, so
yeah.
uh, that's the way it goes for them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. Let's look around the rest of the country here. Trying to think if there's any more. Nothing I have directly in my notes. I said
Well,
mention
I,
what? Yeah, you got anything that we're
yeah,
missing right now?
absolutely. The Colorado housed Arizona
Oh,
yesterday.
yes, they did.
Absolutely housed them. I thought Colorado might win that game, but the way that they won that game shocked me. Um, and it's another crazy day in the just a overall, of course, another Big 12 type of. I
Yeah,
mean,
let's see. Here we go.
you look Friday night,
Oh, BYU. Yeah,
Oklahoma
there we go.
State was up a decent amount, and get to it a little later just because you're doing stuff Friday night, and but it's late enough that everybody else has kind of gone to sleep, and I'm still up, so I'm like, well, let's get this a little. Oh wow, Oklahoma State's winning this, and then back and forth, and then Oklahoma State scores a touchdown. When it's only a minute some left. And BYU went all the way up the field, scored with like 10 seconds to get the win. And it's just like, man, BYU just destined for greatness this year, obviously. Just a fantastic game there. Um, you had Baylor, as bad as they've been, went into Waco and House Tech.
Oh yeah, that was a
Um,
surprising,
yeah.
surprising one there.
Then
Yeah,
you have UCF, who struggled the last month, basically, goes into Ames, and Iowa State has to win at the end there.
absolutely insane. Yeah.
Yeah. A 3-4, yeah. I mean, they were 3-3. Excuse me. Excuse me. Going into that with three straight losses, you think Iowa State in Ames was actually going to house them, and they had to score a touchdown with 30 seconds to get the win.
Yeah, insane. You mentioned Colorado. Yeah, that right now just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, you
Big
look at the
Big 12.
standings. You
Yeah,
have BYU 4-0, Iowa State 4-0, Kansas State smacked West Virginia and Morgantown yesterday. They're 3-1.
Hmm.
Tech, with despite the loss, is still 3-1. Cincinnati's 3-1, who beat Arizona State. Good win for them. Colorado 3-1. So you look at one, two, three, four. You have 7 teams that could win the Big 12 right now.
Yeah, it is a hot race.
But
Next
just a
next
wild
week,
conference.
let's see. Next week you got Texas Tech visiting Iowa State. Um,
Yeah.
and that's your big one next week. A couple teams off. Um, but
Let's
yeah,
see.
yeah, I'm trying to think
You
what else we.
have week 9 and you have, well, it's Texas Tech TCU next week. We Cincinnati, well, Colorado Cincinnati might be interesting. Both
Oh
five
yeah,
and
oh
two.
I missed it. No, yeah, I have it the wrong week. It is not a.
So you have Colorado and Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's
That
not
might be
Texas Tech at Iowa State. There, that's the week
yeah.
after.
So TCU Texas Tech. I mean that usually
Hmm.
a wild game between those two.
Yeah, Cincinnati, Colorado, your nightcap there.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, two one-loss teams. That'll be big for trying to get into that Big
Whoever
12 title
wins
game.
that, yeah.
A little prime
Yeah.
time too. It'd be fun.
Oof, late night, yeah, fun one. You have well, it's just fun because of rivalry. Kansas is horrible. Kansas State should house them, but that's always usually a fun game. Um, Houston, Utah, yeah. But you know, yeah. But really, I guess next week not the greatest, but I would,
Still
yeah,
some
that night
a
it'll
couple
be
important
good
games. Yeah,
games. I mean, it's just nothing that's like really earth shattering. But yeah, that Cincinnati, Colorado, that would definitely be interesting. Just
that's
because
your
we're
headliner
both,
next week. Yeah,
yeah, that's your headliner. But the seeing how this stuff goes, I would say watch out BYU going to Orlando to face UCF.
yeah, right. Gus Bus, House of Horrors. Just when you think
Yeah,
they're looking bad, is when they
they
creep
pull
up.
off
And
the unthinkable.
yeah,
Exactly,
let's see. Let's move on. Let's go across the country just real quick. ACC, Clemson looked good again.
they did.
You got to wonder though. Just is this? Are they? We won't really know how real this is. I guess. I mean, honestly, we'll probably get a little preview at Pitt in the middle of
Yeah,
November. But honestly, until they
mhm,
play someone like a Miami or
yeah,
maybe an SMU. We'll talk about them in just a second.
yeah.
And
The
the
ACC
ACC,
title game.
and then in the
Yeah,
playoff,
yeah.
with this
What do they
schedule,
do
that's
then?
completely they're able to win out and finish the regular season
Oh,
11-1.
absolutely.
And you would think that regardless of what happens in the ACC title game, 11-2 Clemson would get in.
I would
Um,
think so. But
um,
and then
yeah,
again, and who knows? You
but
would think so, but
yeah,
man,
well, we don't know how this is going to go the first year.
right?
Mentioned SMU 40-10 over Stanford out there in Palo Alto. Man,
Yeah,
Mustangs are looking good.
they
Um,
are looking good. You know, the only concern I had with them this week was just that travel. That
mhm,
just because folks are getting used to this
mm,
whole, not nearly as far as some teams, but still it's a long trip from Dallas to
mhm,
Palo Alto. So, but yeah, absolutely house Stanford. And
yeah,
every time I see Stanford now, I wonder how the hell did they go into Syracuse and get that win?
I do not understand. That was a weird, weird one, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, looking at the standings, you got another logjam four unbeaten teams at the top of that
yeah.
standing: Clemson, Miami, SMU, Pitt. Next week, Pitt hosts Syracuse on
Oh,
Thursday.
yeah, that's
Miami,
gonna
of
be
course, we
something.
mentioned Miami's got Florida State.
But that pit,
Clemson, yeah, Clemson's off, and of course SMU visits Duke, one loss, and
hmm,
they,
that'll be interesting.
yeah, Duke, tough team, man. Manny Diaz has got them playing well.
Finally, be Florida State for the first time ever. 0-22 before last Friday.
I did not know
Yeah,
that. Uh,
0-22.
but yeah, they got that Friday win over. Mentioned let's go Big Ten now. Um, we mentioned Oregon, new number one Friday night. They easily handled Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin started looking, they're looking good in Big Ten
I'm
play.
looking
They're
better.
3-1 now. We
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Michigan State. It got some life. They're a big
Yeah,
win over Iowa at
big.
home.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a good win.
yeah, you look ahead, look at their standings. Obviously, we know who's, it's Indiana, Indiana, the powerhouse, Oregon, Penn State unbeaten at the top. Then you got Illinois, Wisconsin, and Ohio State all one loss.
Yeah.
Teams there next week. Nebraska's got to try to bounce back. They go to the Horseshoe in Columbus.
Oof.
Indiana hosts Washington. Number 20 Illinois. After their win, they go to Eugene. So, and then
Oh man.
tough. We got the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Michigan State at Michigan, and then Penn State that we mentioned. Wisconsin's looking good. Penn State takes their unbeaten record there,
They're going to Camp Randall. Oh
and the Camp
wow.
Randall at 6 nighttime too.
Night
So
game. It'll be dark.
that's a tricky
Ugh.
one. That's a
That is
tricky
tricky.
one. Uh,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is.
Let's.
Oh yeah. That's interesting. Just because James Franklin's history and whew, you would again. That's like the USC game. One you have to win if you want to show that you're a big dog. But
Yeah.
oof, that's crazy. Oregon's a 21.5 point favorite over Illinois.
Ooh, man. We mentioned we'll go move the SEC. We didn't talk about next week really with him, but we got Oklahoma goes to Oxford. Ole Miss had the week off, so
Jeez.
that's
20 and a
that's
half
a
point favorite.
yeah, that's a big statement right there. Ole Miss has got to make to
Yeah.
stay
Shoulder
in
to.
contention. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, Missouri, Alabama, of course we know. Texas at Vandy. Can Vandy do the absolutely unthinkable? Would be insane.
I don't get Vegas right now though.
14.
14 for us.
Yeah,
What do they see that we don't? I don't see.
I hope they're right. I mean, granted, like I
I
said,
would
Missouri has not lived up to their hype at all,
right, but
but
at this point,
we're,
I wouldn't.
we're not playing well at all.
I'll be there right now. If I were to go place a ticket right now, I'm doing that plus 14.
Mhm.
Absolutely,
And then the
absolutely.
the big one next week, LSU at A&M. Like we said, the actual leaders in the SEC.
Uh huh.
6:30
Two and a
ABC.
two and a
Kyle
half point
Field.
favorite.
Yeah, A&M 2.5.
And LSU struggled to Kyle Field.
They
They
have,
have
yeah.
struggled. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So that should be a man. That should be a hell of a game.
Yeah, and as you're
Um,
watching that, you can keep an eye on Auburn at up in
yeah,
Lexington
I'm
and
bet the
see.
Kentucky 2.5
Elsewhere,
point favorite.
yeah, let's
Gotcha.
some other, let's Army Navy still unbeaten. Army
Yeah.
took care of East Carolina. Navy really took care of Charlotte.
Man, they both
Uh,
house. Yeah.
just yeah, absolutely just crushed them. It's just crazy, man. And we have chance to have such a weird situation with those two meeting in the American Athletic title game and then playing again the next week
Yeah.
because the Army Navy game,
Um,
the official one, is not a conference game. They did that when Army
when they
moved to the conference. They agreed that they would keep
keep
that as like basically
as
um, a showcase for the two academies. So the only time they can actually play a conference game would be in the conference title game, and that's a possibility. Of course, right behind them, Tulane 3-0 in conference play. They really,
yeah.
yeah, they took care of Rice this weekend.
Hmm.
Memphis and North Texas played a crazy one. Memphis is right there too. One of those teams that sneaking, trying to sneak in that playoff bid.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, Conference USA action, yeah. I don't think there's really, Western Kentucky and Sam Houston had a big one last Wednesday. It's tough for me to see anybody really in Conference USA.
No.
Liberty, everyone talks about them; they're unbeaten, but their schedule is just so weak
So
that
bad. Yeah.
you,
They're not gonna.
you wonder
I don't
how
think.
much, yeah, how much would they even honor unbeaten Liberty team, and
Yeah.
so we'll
Because I
see.
mean, if you have, but I mean, if you have a one man, just with the sheer numbers, I mean, Army and Navy is gonna do numbers just because
Hmm.
they have Army and Navy people all over the country.
Hmm.
So I mean, if it comes down to that type of course they're gonna pick the 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 the
Yeah,
the Service Academy
Academy.
school.
Yeah, I'll
You
tell
know,
you what. If it gets down, say somehow, some way, Army and Navy go unbeaten, the loser of the
oh
title game
my God,
turns around and wins the Army Navy game the next week.
you gotta let them both
Get
in.
them both in. Get them both in. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we don't need a 3 loss. Like if they're both, we don't need a 3 loss. I don't know. Yeah, you just the SEC or the Big Ten. Someone's just gonna stay at home. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can't. That's just a story in itself. Just for that possibility, especially because that means they both beat Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if it comes down to that, and they're undefeated one week and have a classic game, and then the other one wins the following week in the Army Navy game,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, let's put them both in, make the right decision there, because that's the story.
Yeah, I will say, if you're looking at schedule wise, Army has, I guess, the quote unquote easier way to get to the title game unbeaten. They've,
uh
granted, they get Air Force in 2 weeks. Air Force
Yeah,
not looking great this year.
right.
Um, you get North Texas. That's a tricky one. And then you get Notre Dame and UTSA.
hmm
Navy, in turn, they still have to play as far as conference games too. They have to play Tulane. It's in Annapolis,
Yeah,
but they do get Notre Dame next weekend.
mm.
And is it in Annapolis? Or is it a neutral site?
They're probably neutral site. If it's up there, they're probably in Baltimore or something.
It's in East Rutherford. Yeah, MetLife.
Okay,
Where does
right.
Army play then? That's interesting. Is that also? I could see that also being a MetLife. Oh no, they're playing. Oh, they play Notre Dame play at Yankee Stadium.
Huh.
Um,
Interesting.
so that's interesting. Yeah. Elsewhere, uh, lost my tab here. Trying to look ahead. Yeah, that's probably it for, I guess, your teams that are threatening to.
Well, I mean,
Am I missing a mid
UNLV did
major
it.
here? I was about to say.
UNLV is still around. They had a good win,
Yeah.
8 point win there. Went up to Oregon State, got the win there.
Hmm.
And their team's still 6-1 on the season. One loss is
Oh.
but Syracuse, who you know still alive in the ACC. I mean,
Hmm.
a big game. Oh, that's a big game. Friday night, UNLV, Boise State,
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's who I was
nine
forgetting.
thirty, CBS Sports Network.
Hmm. Boise
Good
State.
to see
That's a big
Mr.
one.
Heisman
Yeah,
himself.
they were off this week, but yeah, Ashton Genty. Can he get another huge game?
Boise 2.5
Yeah,
point favorite right now.
that's appointment viewing Friday. Yeah, in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. That should be a fun one.
But yeah, I think anything else college wise on your mind?
No, I think just another wild weekend. A lot of crazy stuff happened. I guess it'd be interesting too. As we get this deeper into the thing, is this coaching carousel is gonna have to start moving sooner than later, just because of the transfer portal and everything else. So,
Hmm.
the interested will start seeing names
Yeah,
and
the
see.
hot seats are getting really hot now
Yeah,
about this time.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's move to the pros real quick. Talk about not a quiet Sunday, but kind of a steady as she goes. Yeah, the Bills traded for Amari Cooper this week to get uh, Josh Allen, a true number one receiver, and it paid dividends. Man, he got a touchdown
Yeah, that's
today. He
what.
looked good.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman had his best game in the NFL so far. The Bills have gotten their kind of mojo back. They slipped
They
there for
did.
a little bit, and they're looking good again. Um, Packers and Texans played a great one. Packers get the
Yeah.
walk off field goal.
Lions Vikings was a hell of a game.
Oh, absolutely great. Vikings now no longer unbeaten as Detroit went in and yeah, went up big, and then Vikings came back, and then the Lions got the ball at the end and another
Kicked the
late
field
field
goal.
goal. Yep.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley had his revenge game, just
Jeez, did he?
all
Wow.
over, all over the Eagles. Man, Jaden Daniels a little scared for the Commanders. Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels left the game. Remember, it wasn't a problem. They took care of the Panthers, but you hope that's not serious. He's
right.
got a big rookie QB matchup with Caleb Williams
Caleb.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bears. And then the big Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs 49ers, man, really wasn't much of a game. The Chiefs,
No, it wasn't. Chiefs
early
housed
on,
them.
it was kind of a little similar to the Alabama Tennessee game. The Chiefs or the Niners defense kept getting turnovers and stuff. They were
Yeah.
picking off, uh, but
Only
they
up
couldn't
three
do
at the end of the
anything.
first. Yeah.
And then Brock Purdy had a terrible game, 3 interceptions. Um, Chiefs did what they do. They're last unbeaten team now.
6-0.
Yep.
Man.
Um, and other than that, not terribly big games. Just no big news. I guess is Deshaun Watson looked like he has a torn Achilles or some
Oh,
type
that
of
was
Achilles
nasty.
injury.
That was
Yeah,
nasty.
no contact injury. He was carted off.
Mm.
Miles Garrett is mad at fans because they booed him
And
as he was being carted off. Uh,
uh, it's
DTR
a
comes in
bad.
quarterback. Jameis comes in late, gets him a touchdown actually, and they have the onside kick. But the Bengals do get another win, so they're 3-4 now.
But that's crazy that Jameis not even a second string.
Yeah,
Like
right. I
this is
was very surprised. And as we're talking, Najee Harris is running in for another Steelers
another
touchdown. They are
touchdown.
kicking the shit out of the Jets.
The Jets.
That'll make it 36-15 now.
That's a. I mean, that's another move. The Jets
They went and got
went and
Devontae
got the.
Adams. It ain't
And
helping.
that no, like
Uh, it is time to start having is Rogers cooked conversations. Uh,
yeah. I mean,
he's not playing
the-
terrible, but it's like,
no, man.
is
It's not.
he?
It's not. It's not what you wanted. It's not what you brought him in to be. You brought
Mm,
him to be the last star run. You wanted him to be like Brett Favre 2010 with the Vikings type
mm,
season where he was just lighting shit up
mm,
on the way out.
and that
Uh,
concerning for that defense, Najee Harris by far his best game of the year so
Yeah.
far. Um,
And for them to give up 37, that's a lot for the Jets defense.
well, what I say by far, but actually, that first game, or I guess that was last week. No, he played really well against the Raiders. So maybe Pittsburgh's found something. Maybe Najee Harris has got his mojo back.
Yeah.
Uh, and that run
So,
game's looking dangerous.
yeah.
And of course, tomorrow night you got the Ravens and Bucks, a big one Monday night,
Ravens,
and then
Bucks.
Cardinals and Chargers. Again, that weird double uh,
Double
Monday
Monday.
night thing. Yeah, Ravens Bucks.
Isn't that one exclusively on the ESPN Plus?
It is,
Yeah.
which is so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ravens Bucks is the obvious headliner of those two.
Of
Anyway,
course it is.
that
Yeah.
exciting offense, two exciting offenses. Bucks coming off was last week their win. Yeah, they won last week, right? Yeah, they beat the hell out of the
Yeah.
Saints. Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah, they
two
beat the
weeks
hell
ago.
out.
I'm thinking two
Yeah.
weeks ago when uh, Kirk Cousins threw all over him.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like I said, it wasn't like nothing shocking. Of course, the injuries we mentioned, a couple big trades this week were the stories. Um, and we'll see how that, the trade deadline's November 5th. It's a week later this year, but it looks like NFL's more trades are starting to happen.
Right.
We'll see what happens in Cleveland. Nick Chubb did come back for them today, got a touchdown.
Yeah. That was good to see because,
Yeah.
man,
But,
been so long since we seen Nick Chubb.
maybe this is at least a temporary solution to their Sean Watson problem. You hate to, I guess you hate to see it. I don't know.
I mean, you hate to see a
yeah.
guy get injured like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
But it's also,
I don't know
yeah.
what's a lot going on with that.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Anthony Richardson also came back today. Wasn't overly impressive, but the Colts got the W against the Dolphins. So that's all. That's
Then
all. Else.
I would say it's interesting this morning. Early, it was. I
Hmm.
mean, a lot more scoring than I thought was going to happen that one. I will say, Travis Etienne may not have a job in Jacksonville because Tank Bigsby went crazy.
Ooh, he is. Yeah, and he's had a couple decent games.
Yeah, but that man absolutely had a day. 26, 118, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, they kept feeding him the ball. I mean, that's one thing, man. Auburn always stays with a good running back
Hmm.
and does well in the league. And man, but um, so
Yeah.
yeah,
But looking ahead to next week, uh, some interesting games. The Eagles at the Bengals. Two teams. The Bengals are desperate. They could get back to 500 and
Yeah.
try to stay in that playoff hunt. The Eagles need to win to honestly keep pace with the Commanders in the East
Right.
there, and keep their playoff hopes, alive and
Yeah, and
steady.
it's kind of week overall though.
Yeah, Falcons and Bucks play again. You got
Yeah.
you do have see a
I
division.
mean that's an interesting game divisions, but
Yeah, a couple division games. Colts and Texans are another one.
yeah.
Chiefs Raiders, although the Raiders don't look like a threat to do anything. Like we mentioned, the big one there is probably that Bears Commanders. The rookie quarterbacks. You hope Jaden Daniels is
Hopefully
okay to
Jaden
come
will be
back. Yeah,
fine. 'Cause you would like to see that. But other than that, next weekend is kind of
yeah.
I
Bills
mean,
and Seahawks
uh,
is another. There's a few interesting games with no
yeah,
knockouts. Um,
yeah. Bill Seahawks is a interesting one because I mean, Seahawks got a huge win and absolutely housed the Falcons today. I was like, wow,
yeah.
absolutely housed them
hmm But yeah,
on the road too in Atlanta by 20.
yeah, looking good too. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll move on elsewhere real quick. Finish up. We mentioned some big happenings just right now as we record. The Liberty have won their first
first
WNBA
title.
title. Great finish, overtime game, and not too long ago the Dodgers wrapped up the NLCS. So we
They
talked about it.
got
We
the
will have that
baseball
LA,
got their World
uh,
Series of their dreams.
the Dodgers and Yankees in the World Series, the LA and New York TV markets, the big names for the casual
Big names for the
viewers,
casual fan.
um,
Absolutely.
even the hardcore fans. You get a lot of the hardcore
All the
fans complained
history.
about the new playoff setup with wild card teams. And you're not getting the two
Hey,
best teams. Well, hey, they
but
weren't
you got it.
technically. The Yankees were the one seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dodgers were the two seed technically, but hey, this is your
This is what
huge
people wanted
man.
to see.
Yeah,
This is as good as baseball can hope for. I mean, so man,
yeah.
they
All
got
the
the World
big
Series they
yeah.
wanted.
Got the World Series. You got all the big names you want.
I mean, you got Soto,
Yeah,
you got
Soto who hit the game winning homer. You got
yeah.
Shohei. You got Judge and Giancarlo. You got Mookie Betts. Yeah, all your big
I mean,
names.
I mean, for baseball, they can't be happier because this is exactly what they needed for their sport. Because I mean, we had Arizona, Texas last year. I mean, it was
Yeah,
good baseball, but that's not bringing them in.
yeah,
This is exactly what the baseball needed. I don't know if it does anything long term for the sport, but for a week or two, I mean, you kind of hope for a better thing for Major League
hmm
Baseball. Whether you're a
yeah,
fan of either or just like baseball, or even the casual fan. I mean, anything LA, New York's gonna bring people in, and then the star
hmm
power. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
So now, now WNBA is done, but the NBA, um,
the start.
so yeah, starts this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday.
Yeah,
Tuesday with New York and Boston and Minnesota, LA. So your defending
that's
champs start the season against probably their main
after.
rival for the East again this year.
Yeah,
And then you get LeBron and the new look
it was
T Wolves there.
Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll see how Julius Randle fits in there, and
and we have a full schedule
it's
Wednesday.
and then everyone the big schedule. See who your Mavs got to start.
San Antonio, I believe Thursday night.
Yeah, San Antonio and Dallas, and the Pelicans
Big
start with
rivalry game.
Chicago Wednesday night at home. So
Huh.
hopefully a good start for them. I have no idea
No,
what
I
kind of
saw that.
lineup we're going to trot out, or
All
if we're going to have a center, but whatever.
right. Talking about the Bulls, though, it was good, man, to see. Even though it's still preseason, just see Lonzo Ball play ball for like the first time in almost 2 years. All his
Yeah,
injuries he dealt with, I was happy to see him play.
yeah,
Look
and
pretty decent.
knowing how the Pelicans just are as a franchise, he will drop like a 35, 18, and 10 or some shit in that game. But who knows? Like I said, as a Pelicans fan, I'm just and I'm excited because there is some talent at team, Devontae Murray, and we'll
Oh
see
yeah, very talented.
how that looks. You love to see like the the growth of guys like Herb Jones continues to get better every year with his offense, and he's a
Mhm.
lockdown. Hey man,
Oh
let's
yeah,
give him some love for Defensive Player of the Year if he plays like he has
absolutely.
again. Um, Trey Murphy, you want to see how he progresses even more if he gets a nod in that starting lineup. You got to get him more
Mhm.
minutes. You got to get Jordan Hawkins on the floor more because he's such a good shooter.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, that center thing, yeah, man, that ugh.
Mm.
uh,
You know,
uh,
your big thing too is just that health. You
mm-hmm.
guys gotta stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Got to keep Zion healthy, and we can see what the hell. Um, just what the hell the season with Brandon Ingram and all that mess brings. Does he
Yeah.
lock in and focus, and do they figure something out in this small ball lineup or whatever they're going to do? Does it end up being like, oh
Hmm.
my god, this is great, or does somebody actually finally say they want him? Do they find a center?
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's our storyline. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see. It should be exciting. Like you said, it's always an exciting time of year coming up for that. And we got that. So
Absolutely.
a great World Series coming up, and
Yeah.
college and pro football getting deep into the seasons now, where we really start
Exactly.
learning things
Getting
and
into the
figuring out.
weeds, learning about teams,
Uh,
getting serious or not. So we're gonna find out a lot about a lot of teams, and then like you said, the NBA starting. Man, it's a great time in the sports world.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, interesting enough, it looks like Russell Wilson might be the guy. And he started off bad there tonight, and people wonder why they got away from Fields, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, Tomlin knew what he was doing.
Yeah, and if you can get that kind of games out of Najee Harris too with that
Yeah.
defense, man, all of a sudden Pittsburgh's looking real legit now. When was
Uh,
that first?
th- I saw, I heard something. I don't know if it's earlier this week or the end of maybe I think it was earlier this past week. I heard something that the Dolphins could have got Tomlin a while back, but didn't.
Oh, I saw that said he was. What did they say? He was too hip hop or something. Is the rumor?
Yeah, I was
Oh man,
like, you could have.
uh,
No,
talked
like,
about
gee,
the trajectory of a franchise right there,
good
man.
God.
Uh,
But how
uh,
did what how does that man? They've been a wild franchise. I mean, they're the ones who said the wild stuff about Dez Bryant back in the day. Like they've
oh
said some wild
man,
things.
yeah.
They've had some wild things
Uh,
come out that the
uh,
people are saying, and it's like, man, stuff like that can't is not flying these days. Like, what is going on?
you know, oh, hell, I just lost it. Yeah.
And
Speaking of the Dolphins too, I said, he is there a
he's
chance he plays
practicing.
next week? He's practicing. He plays next week or a couple weeks at least, but he's practicing.
I'm just so scared for him, right? I'm just,
Right.
I mean, it's his call. Like, I'm not the one saying you got to retire because I mean, I don't know what it is. I can't, I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
don't know what it's like in those situation there. But man, I just wish him the best, no matter what. Just because it's so, man, I don't know. I'm just so worried about him, man. Because you, at any time, one more hit, you don't know what'll happen. Like it's just wild.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
ugh, that time. But I think we've been talking long enough, Greg. What has been done up real good for you this week?
yeah, done up real good for me. Tomorrow is wedding anniversary.
Oh,
Been married since 2008, so I mean,
ooh, yeah.
long time there. Obviously, she's a very patient woman. Yeah, so that's done up for me there. Yep, so going on 16 years. So wow, time's gone fast. But yeah, obviously she's a great woman, a lot of patience. Because I don't know, I wouldn't deal with myself for that long. But anyway, how about you?
Just I guess I'll just say nothing huge or insanely
Yeah,
special. Just a nice happy week, I guess. Got some
yeah,
house projects done. Uh,
it's always good.
it's been nice weather, here, not too bad. A little chilly at night even.
Yeah,
Yeah, just kind of one of those like, hey, it's a good week type weeks. Nothing too special. Uh, Nothing greatly notable in either direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for us this week, y'all.
All right.
As always, thanks for listening. Do subscribe and
Absolutely.
get some friends to subscribe if you think you would like us, and give us good ratings on the things. And if anybody out there wants to sponsor us,
Absolutely.
go right ahead.
Yeah.
We'll take it. Check out
Absolutely.
everybody else in the Alabama Take family of podcast and the AlabamaTake.com, of course. I won't talk about the Taking Bets column this week for you, Greg.
Oh man, I took some chances. Didn't work out at
went,
all.
went a
Nothing
little
worked.
bold. Yeah, went a little bold, but hey, that happens. But as always, like we said, folks, thanks for listening. Keep it done up yourselves, or keep it done up real good yourselves out there. And we'll see you next week. Another fun
Absolutely.
week in football. The World Series will have started. NBA will have started its season.
Man,
Just a great time for sports.
absolutely.
Yep. Greg, buddy, I will see you then.
Yes, sir. We'll do it again.